Welcome. Today we explore two fundamental frameworks of thought: modernity and postmodernity. It is a common mistake to view these merely as historical eras. In reality, they are deep-seated modes of thinking that coexist in every age. One attempts to define our world through fixed, stable identities, while the other seeks to understand the world through the fluid, constant state of difference. Let's look beneath the timeline. We often fall into the chronological fallacy, treating history as a linear relay race where one era simply replaces another. We imagine ancient, medieval, and modern blocks stacking up like a building. But this is a misconception. Modernity and postmodernity are not sequential. While their influence may wax and wane, both have existed side by side in every place and time. Philosophical postmodernity is not a product of the late 20th century, it is any mode of thought that seeks to transcend the limitations of the modern framework. Instead of a linear progression, we should view these forces as simultaneous and complementary. Think of them as two waves moving together from the past into the present. Modernity remains a dominant force, while postmodernity operates as a critical counterforce of generation and transformation. We must abandon the idea of historical eras as fixed buckets and instead recognize these as coexisting tools for interpreting reality. At the heart of this distinction is the fundamental tension between being and becoming. The modern view treats reality as being, a static, fixed identity that converges toward a center. The postmodern view sees reality as becoming, a decentered, dispersed flow of difference. The question is reality a static object waiting to be categorized, or a dynamic process waiting to be experienced? Modernity is the mode of making. Rooted in the mechanistic traditions of thinkers like Descartes and Galileo, it favors a world of determinism and homogenization. Its method is analytic reductionism. It dissects the world, separating mind from body and subject from object, believing that by creating clear, distinct boundaries, we can finally master the truth. Conversely, postmodernity is the mode of generation. Drawing from Hellenistic materialism and Eastern philosophies of energy, or chi, it values plurality and contingency. Its goal is not to divide, but to integrate. By using synthetic holism, it seeks to understand the subject and object as part of a single, transforming process, embracing the role of chance and life itself. To visualize modern thought, think of a tree, what we call an arborescent, or molar, structure. It is hierarchical, centered, and rooted in a singular ground of truth. It searches for meaning in fixed, representational entities like absolute spirit or static structures. Ultimately, this architecture divides and ranks the world to maintain that sense of fixed identity. In contrast, postmodern thought is rhizomatic like the root system of ginger. It connects any point to any other point. It is molecular, dispersed, and decentered. Instead of seeking truth in external, static forms, it finds it in immanent factors: internal differences, potential forces, and the unconscious. It thrives on what are called lines of flight. It is important to remember that this is a gradient, not a binary choice. We rarely see a system that is purely one or the other. Structures in our world possess varying degrees of both arborescence, the need for order and hierarchy, and rhizomaticity, the impulse toward chaos and connection. Everything exists somewhere on this shifting scale. This leads us to the source of truth: transcendent versus immanent. The modern view is transcendent. It assumes principles are external and superior to the world. We look up to norms and archetypes to judge reality. The postmodern view is immanent. It insists principles are contained within the world itself. We look in to matter as a source of creative force. Let's clear up a major misconception regarding post-truth. Often, people conflate popular postmodern culture with a decline into nihilism. But philosophical postmodernity is not a rejection of truth, it is an expansion of it. It does not ignore the actual, it simply widens our cognitive scope to include the virtual and the potential. This expansion of cognition is vital. Modern thought stops at what can be represented clearly. Postmodern thought enters the realm of non-representation. By including virtual objects, the realm of pure potentiality, it changes how we see the world. Ambiguity is no longer seen as a failure of logic, but as the essential condition for creativity and continuous variation. Finally, we must recognize that these modes mutually presuppose one another. You cannot move beyond a structure that does not exist. Postmodern deterritorialization isn't an escape into a void, it is a process of generating new creations from within the structures of modernity. They are deeply intertwined. To summarize this architecture of thought where modernity looks for fixed identity and transcendent, hierarchical truths through reductionism, postmodernity looks for the flow of difference and immanent, interconnected truths through synthesis. The goal of the former is homogenization, the goal of the latter is the celebration of heterogeneity. As Gilles Deleuze famously noted, modern thought was born from the discovery of the forces that stir beneath the representation of the identical. We are collectively transitioning from a philosophy of static identity to a philosophy of creative difference. Thank you for joining this exploration of how we think about the world.